Welcome back, everybody, to the show. I am your host, as always, Jay Villain, aka That Villain Jay. And with me always is my co-host in podcast, my brother in Mono Black. Here he is, the numbest of skulls, Numbskull, right there. There he is. And we are coming to you live from our studio here in the internet. And we're going to be talking about Magic today. What episode? I didn't even check what episode it is. I have lost count.
Does it usually says on here, doesn't? Oh, 56?
Is it 56?
That's what it says up top. But I don't even know if I did that right. That might not count before we actually had this though. So it might be like 60 something.
55. Okay, it's 55.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because you don't count zero.
Yeah, I don't count zero. Yeah.
Sure.
So, all right, it's episode 55. It is also almost coming up to our 2-year anniversary.
Beautiful.
We've been doing this for a while. We're pretty happy. We're happy with our growth with this podcast so far. I've been really happy with it. And I hope you've been enjoying it too, because I've been having a great time. Maybe we'll do a 2-year retrospective of 2 years of Black Council, because it's been a fun ride. We've been through a lot on this one.
We've had a good time, and we've taken breaks, and we've gone hard for a while, and we've been really into it, and we've stayed persistent nonetheless. With the exception of like a couple month break, I think last year. But
we had the summer hiatus. And that was mostly just, again, by the way, as we were talking before the stream, we're in the long summer's the worst time for Magic. You get the long drought between the spring release and the fall release. Yeah. They don't really do much over the summer. It's kind of a content. It's kind of a card desert. We are getting Modern Horizons, which we're going to talk about later. I'm going to put some timestamps because we got kind of a mixed bag tonight. We're going to talk about some Modern Horizons. We're going to talk about some Pro Tour stuff. We're going to talk about some competitive Magic, some mono black decks. We're going to talk about a little bit everything today in this long form style of podcast and video. Yes. You're not going to get it all in 5 minutes. Okay. So settle in, get a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, a glass of cool lemonade, and settle in with us here at the Black Council. We're happy to have you.
Yes, sir.
And as always, we are supported by our patrons. As you can see, that this is a fully Patreon supported proposition that we have here, organization, patreon.com/the Black Council. You can become a patron today. The way you do that is you just follow that link and you can donate $1 a month, $1 an episode, $5 a month, whatever you want to give, however you want to join the council. You'll get access to our Discord, our private Discord, where we post special stuff and secret bonus videos that nobody sees but the council. And also you can just communicate with the main council members. You also get early access to the videos. You'll also see them before anyone else does. So that's, if you really are a fan of the content that we make, I recommend that you join the Patreon. We'd really appreciate it. It helps support what we do here.
And it's super cheap too.
It is super cheap. Yeah, $1 a month. That's all you need to do. If you only want to do $1 a month, that's fine.
$1 a month, man. And not to mention it's, we're talking about early access to the episodes, patrons only Discord. You get way more than $1 worth of stuff.
Oh yeah.
At least we think.
Yeah.
If you don't think so, fine. But most people agree that, $1 for everything that we give you, and we try to keep upping the ante as we go along and as we get more people.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people would say it's pretty good.
Pretty good. We think it's good, but we're doing it. So
yeah, it's a little different. Yeah.
Do you want to read them off, or also we'll read your name in the credits right here? Like
You'll get your name. You get a shout out every time. I can certainly read them. Let me remember how to do this properly.
Click active. Audience and active.
Audience active. Oh, we got 25 patrons. Look at that, man.
25 active patrons.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. Okay, yeah, let's do it. First one, Larry Mitchell, Aaron B. Miller. It looks like those are two of our newer ones here. Rufus, which is Jay Langford, Metal Mechanic, Eclipse, Notorious D, Deadfast, Frank E, Argent Icon, W. Taylor, The Clash, a live action RPG, Elvan Breams, Xylo the Beast, Jamel Langford III, Trex, Lord Gypticus the Flipticus, Mamulian, Cassius, Nickel Nuts, H-Man, Ulfear, Dante Valentine, Savrit coming back through with the re-up on his patronage. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Clever, and of course Paradabo, not one but both of them.
A whole pair of Dabos right there. Thank you so much for your support, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, man. That is incredibly kind. Looking at, like, especially like Jay was saying, we've done this like twice, or I'm sorry, not twice, like for 2 years now, and just seeing, like, because it shows you like how long some people have been subscribed. Like obviously Paradabo and Clever, like they've kind of been some of our OGs.
Tracks, of course.
Tracks, yeah. Dante Valentine's up there. Nickel Nuts is also up there. Who else? Jamel's always repping, and Elvan Breams has been around for a while too. Argent Icon, Frankie, like Dead Fast also is
long-term supporters, too, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think like almost all of those guys are like a year or more now of, like, you know, consistent every month donations to the council. So we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and we really couldn't do this without you. So but yeah, so feel free to join the council. We'll give you thanks and a shout out every episode. We will take into consideration your suggestions in the Discord. You can put what you'd like to see on your Black Council podcast. This is your council. So
we try to make it collaborative. We
just speak for you, but this is your council. So
yes,
feel free to subscribe, or become a patron and do that, and we'll try to get as much as you want to see on here. So we'll go into. Usually I let Jay do the segue, but it's going to be a lot of me talking.
It's going to be. I'll introduce it. So
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Big announcement in case you haven't heard, in case you're not hanging around too much. Our very own Numbskull won an RCQ. He is the champ. He won. He won with, you'll never guess what kind of deck that he ran and won with. And in a million years, you'll never. It was a mono black, believe it or not. I know we would have never guessed that he would have run a mono black.
Yeah.
But our very own Numbskull is headed to regionals. Correct?
Yep. In Washington, D.C. this October.
He's headed to regionals in Washington, D.C. this October. Amazing stuff. And I don't know competitive Magic. I don't really do competitive Magic. I didn't even know Numbskull was doing this. He just DM'd me on Discord one day. He was like holding up a piece of paper that's like, "Hey, I won an invitation to the regionals." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, "Yeah, I did the thing, and I
I kind of just put my head down that day. I didn't really tell anybody that I was doing it. And then, like, I think I told my one friend that, like, hey, I'm going to be in the top 8, so this is going pretty well. And, like, that was kind of the only thing I talked about. And I think my buddy called me during the tournament. I said, "Hey, I'll call you back. I'm doing a tournament right now." And then I called him back later to say that I won. And I didn't really tell anybody before. I didn't want to, like, jinx it, but I also just kind of like woke up that day and just drove to it. And I don't know, man. I don't know what it was. I was really locked in that day.
You were locked in.
I was just like, I wasn't thinking about anything else that was going on in my life. Wasn't thinking about any problem that I have, whatever. Was just thinking about Magic, and I was like fully able to focus. It was great. And yeah, I played some pretty clean Magic, and I didn't lose all day.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
Amazing run.
I went basically, depending how many people are in the tournament and how it's going and how your tiebreakers look. And my tiebreakers were good the whole time, I'll say that. But depending how all that looks, if you win the first 3, a lot of the times, as long as the tournament isn't like huge, you can actually draw intentionally the next 2 rounds of Swiss, because most tournaments are like 5 to 6 rounds of Swiss. Mm-hmm. So if you get like 3 or 4 round wins, you can just draw the next 2 rounds and just chill. So I got to do an intentional draw in rounds 4 and 5, and I was still in second place going into the top 8.
Wow.
The reason that's relevant, one, it shows you my tiebreakers were good. Two, when you're in top 8 and they do a bracket. So if you, I know Jay doesn't do a whole lot with sports, but if you pay attention to sports, it's kind of like your playoff bracket. 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6. So ideally, if I win the quarterfinals, I play the 3 seed in the semifinals. But the 2 and the 7 and the 3 and the 6 are on their own side over here, and the 1 and the 8 and the 4 and the 5 are on their own side over here. And that's because it's designed that in theory, the 1 and the 2 emerge from each side of the bracket and see each other in the finals. So because of that, what they also do, it's kind of like in sports when the higher seed has home field advantage or home court advantage, they get to play the more games at home, whatever. In Magic tournaments and competitive tournaments for gaming, it's generally something centered around who goes first. And this is in Magic, we do who goes first. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a coin toss.
Yeah, exactly. So I basically auto won the die roll. And something else that helped out was the 1 seed got eliminated in the the quarterfinals, actually. So that meant that I was the top seed remaining. So I was going to choose if I was on the play the whole way through it.
Wow.
As long as I kept winning. So that was also helpful. I didn't have to worry about a die roll. You know what I mean? So having that high seed was really good for me. I drew really well. I played. So Jay said I played a mono black deck. I played mono black Waste Not, which is. And Jay's watched me play it now, and he says, "Oh, this is almost like more of a lockout deck."
Yeah, it's a bit of a prison deck, not so much gain and drain.
Yeah,
gain and drain, which is kind of what we both like to play, the gain and drain creature base.
Yeah, and that's what, when people were talking to me about it, they're like, "Well, hey, there's a mono black deck that's really good in the format, but it's like not really the style that you like to play." And I was gonna go against the grain at first and not play this deck and play like a mono black crime deck that I was gonna kind of work out. And it just ended up being that Waste Not was actually like, it was easier to get the cards and it was cheaper. So I was like, okay, screw it.
Might as well, yeah.
Yeah, like dude, it's like $8 for 4 Waste Knots. It's like, okay, fine, just and that's the most important card in the deck, and it's super cheap. It's a very cheap rare enchantment. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. I'll learn how to play it. I'll learn the format a little better. And I did 1 RCQ. I didn't do very well. I missed top 8. And then I went to an FNM, and I was 0-3 with it at an FNM the week before. So like, I didn't think that I was going to do that well with the deck, and then it kind of goes to show you that like you can have one day of getting hot with your deck. Not saying that the deck isn't good overall, because I think it is very good, but like, don't take like one bad day with it as like, oh, this deck sucks.
Yeah.
I definitely learned that.
Hot.
Yeah, I learned that in the most delightful of ways this past Saturday. So top 8, I play against Gruul Prowess. Pretty easy. You just got to hold your removal, remove the slick shots when you can, and then with your discard spells, get them to no cards in hand, have them hellbent, and then you just play your Shoulder It, and they really can't do anything, and then that's it. So I did go to game 3 in that one, just because game 2, if you play aggro on the draw, they have a very high chance of winning. So game 2, they took game 2, and then I won game 3. So I move on, and I go and I play this guy who's playing this like Grinning Ignis combo, and I know Jay's ears probably start ringing when I say Grinning Ignis, because we lived through that. Yeah, in Alchemy,
that was the meta.
Was a big problem. Yeah, so there's an infinite combo you can do in Pioneer with Grinning Ignis and Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and venturing into the dungeon. and you make infinite mana, and there's a creature that lets you pay mana to venture into the dungeon. And then I think it's the Lost Mind of Phandelver, gain a life, lose a life, and you use your infinite mana to go to that dungeon X number of times until your opponent dies. That is the point of that deck. That's their combo. And I thankfully had like the right amount of graveyard hate to respond to the opponent trying to eat the Grinning Ignis with the Agatha Soul Cauldron to the point where it was okay.
Yeah.
So that worked out really well. But I will say he did play Leyline of Sanctity in game 2 after I won game 1. For those of you who don't know what that is, I think it says like your opponents can't target you with
you have hexproof.
Or it just straight up says you have hexproof.
You have hexproof, yeah. So you cannot be the target of spells.
Yeah. So that's a long-winded way for me to say hexproof. Yes. So he's not even playing white. He just sideboarded it in and had it in his starting hand and was like pre-game effects, Leyline of Sanctity, and I had mulligan to 5. And I see that, and I almost scooped. He laughed in my face.
Oh my goodness!
Like we're cool. He wasn't being an asshole. But he laughed in my face.
He was just like, "I got this. It's in the bag."
Yeah. And I mulled a 5, and I had a Waste Not and like 2 lands, and I think like a Sholdred and a Hostile Investigator or something like that. And I was like, let's try it. I was like, it's actually kind of good that I don't have my discard spells because I can't use them anyway. So, but yeah, so that ended up working out. He could just never deal with the Shoulder, and it just drained him. The game took forever. That game took forever because it was a constant game of chicken of me having to hold up mana to take things out of his graveyard with Cling to Dust, which is just like a 1 mana, take something out of the grave, but you can escape it for 4 mana. So after I used it once, I had to constantly hold up 4 mana to escape it. So that delayed things basically until I got to like 8 or 9 lands. Then I could top deck a spell and still cast it and cast the Cling to Dust. So I had to like just sit there for a bunch of turns and let Sholdred do her thing. Yeah. And kind of like attack in when I needed to and this and that. You know, I played the Hostile Investigator on the board just to have a body. Yeah. But his ETB doesn't trigger because its target opponent discards a card. I can't make you discard a card. So it's just a 4/3 for 4. It's not that good. But it's bigger than all his creatures. So it kind of, I was able to beat him down with those 2.
So ultimately, what is your win con with the Waste Not deck?
With Waste Not, like obviously you get a ton of value off of Waste Not itself.
You get mana and you get cards based. I'm going to put in the edited in the video is going to be a Waste Not. They're going to be cards. So
mana, cards, and I can bring up the deck on my end too and present.
Oh, sure. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah. You get creatures too, which is nice. If they discard a creature card, you get a 2/2 zombie. If they discard a non-creature, non-land card, you draw a card. If they discard a land, you get 2 black mana. And the idea is you get like 2 or 3 of them out, and you just kind of overrun them with value and resources and so many cards in hand while they have no cards in hand, and it spirals basically. But yeah, so that's kind of what the deck wants to do. But yeah, so we have that. And then we also, what's nice is we also use Gyre Reach Sanitarium, which is
interesting.
Cool. And it's not a very popular land, but it's nice to use when they're top decking. Yeah. Because it makes each player draws a card and discards a card. So if I have a Sholdred out and you're top decking and I do Gyre, okay, now you don't get to keep that card for 1, and 2, you lose 2 life from that activation, and then you lose 2 more life when you on your actual draw step. So now it's gonna double the Sholdred clock, double the speed of it basically.
And I think people are absolutely missing out, by the way, if I can throw my own aside in there. Force draw with Sheldred is one of the most powerful.
Yeah, it's good, especially when they don't even get to keep the card.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, you're just causing damage. And believe it or not, I actually know, right when you said Gaia Reach Sanitarium, it went off in my brain. I may have one right near me because I used to play it in my well, I still do play it, I think, in my Vampire Madness, because it's a great way to have discard every single turn.
Madness? Yeah, that sounds good. Sure.
So when you said Gaia Reach, I'm like, oh crap, I have a Gaia Reach somewhere. I used to play it in my Rakdos Vampire Madness deck.
Okay, yeah. We play 3 of them in the Waste Not deck, so it's good.
Very cool.
So I have the deck presented here, and hold
on, let me pull it up.
Okay,
there we go.
So and then we also one that there's a lot of argument about and debate, really, I could say, is Kaervek. Some people are like, oh no, you play too many creatures. But there are situations where Kaervek won me the game from being able to cast things out of the graveyard. What a lot of people forget about is you have, I think the deck that I run only has 4 Field of Ruin abilities. This one runs a 1 of Demolition Field. I think I just run 4 of Field of Ruin when I play it in paper. But you can do that at instant speed, and then that's a crime. And if you have 4 mana or 3 mana and a Citadel, and one of them being a Citadel, and you have a Thoughtseize in the graveyard, you can instant speed Thoughtseize your opponent.
Wow.
It's pretty good. And because of what that gives us, I think it's worth running 2 of them in the deck. Liliana's pretty good. Hostile Investigator is amazing. He just adds to that incremental value. Yeah. In some situations, he's arguably better than Sheoldred because he immediately does something as soon as he hits the board. He is instantly a 3-for-1 as soon as he hits. Even if you remove him, it's still a 3-for-1. If I play the Sheoldred and you remove it right away, it's a bad exchange of mana. So there's so there's like kind of so there's situations where Sheoldred's the best, situations where Investigator's the best, situation where Kaervek is the best. And you notice that I run 9 creatures in the deck total, so not a lot of creatures here. 26 non-creatures, 25 lands, 4 Lochthwains, 2 Hives, 8 swamps. So we have 8 basic lands is the goal here, because we have a lot of utility lands. But yeah, we have our main deck discard, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Duress. We have a lot of removal. 4 Push, 2 Edict, 2 Triumph, 3 Lily, Extinction Event, another Extinction Event in the sideboard. Yeah, here he is. And then Jay and my favorite card here, 2 Invoke Despair.
Oh well, how could we not? Would it really? At the end of the day, would it be a Numbskull deck if we didn't have Invoke Despair in it? Would it even really count?
The funny part, and what actually kind of sold me, was the list that I originally looked at said to play 2 Invoke Despair in the sideboard. I said, well, you don't got to tell me twice. So I ended up reworking the sideboard. I ended up taking cards out of the original deck. Like, the original deck didn't have the Hostile Investigators. It actually had more 2-drops that I thought were kind of like not doing enough. So I opted to get rid of them.
Okay.
We do have 2 Path of Peril. That was convenient in the what do you call it? In the Gruul Prowess matchup for sure. We have Blot Out, because Blot Out deals with Rakdos it deals with their Vein Ripper. Also, the decks that like Slamma and Atraxa early, some of those in Pioneer. And then there's also the Niv to Light that casts Niv Mizzet for free. They also cast Tybalt off of the Bring to Light.
Oh yeah, I hate that combo.
So this will get rid of a Tybalt. It'll exile the Tybalt, which is great. It'll exile their Nivs. The decks that play the Niv to Light stuff, they only run like 2 to 3 Nivs. So if you already killed one and then you blot out the other, like you might only have to worry about 1 more Niv in the entire deck. Or like sometimes, like you also want to play Ashiok, because Ashiok shuts down the Bring to Light, but it also mills them. So sometimes you're gonna hit a Niv Mizzet on the mill, or hit their Tybalt on the mill, and they don't have a lot of ways to get it back. So that's very convenient, and you're going to exile the graveyard anyway. So this is really good against Niv Mizzet. I actually bought another Ashiok to run in my sideboard.
Yeah.
And so that Ashiok helped me win game 3 against the opponent because I played Nib to Light against Nib to Light in the finals, and I'm not supposed to be able to beat that deck. I'm not supposed to win the matchup, and I did.
I feel like the modifications, it really speaks to your, shall we even say, mastery of mono black, that you were able to bring to bear the correct resources at the right time.
Yeah,
and you just had a lot of answers, and I think that's what makes this such a competitive deck for. Even in the competitive scene, which is very heavy on control, combos, doing crazy stuff, is that this leans into that prison aspect of whatever you think your deck is going to be doing, it's not going to be doing that.
I'm shutting it down.
You're not going to be doing that. It's an it's a black anti-meta, essentially.
It is anti-meta, which I think maybe is why it's doing so well right now, because there's like a strong and diverse meta in Pioneer. And I just wanted to say, while we were talking about Invoke Despair, that actually won me the game in game 3. I top decked Invoke Despair, cast it, drew another Invoke off of that, cast the next turn for lethal. So
I assuming that all the lights went out and the moon moved in front of the sun and darkness overtook the land, and
it started raining.
Your opponent, that when the darkness went away, your opponent was just a skeleton.
The funny thing is he's my friend, and he actually borrowed my deck the week before to take it to a tournament. So that was kind of funny also.
Sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say it was weird when I won. You know, we shook hands, all that, good sports about it. It was just, I didn't want to I was very excited, let me just say. And I didn't want to show my excitement too much, because I knew that he really wanted to win. You know, so I didn't I wanted to yell. I couldn't yell till I got in my car, but I yelled for a little bit. I was super excited, and it was also really cool. We agreed in the finals to split the prizing.
Okay.
The prizing wasn't very good, so we were just like, dude, you want to just split it? And it was like, sure. So we each got $90 store credit. It was 30 to enter. We tripled our money, which for those of you who go to tournaments, that's terrible payout. But I'm not complaining, and I won't name the store. One of their policies also, which I guess it's more common than I thought, they make you spend the store credit the same day.
Whoa.
Yep.
Well, did you get anything?
Yeah. I got.
Did you get a foil Sheldred?
I was gonna get a shoulder, but she was like $60, and I was like, damn, I want to get more than 2 cards, so I got I got a Grim Tutor,
5 more Invoke Despairs.
Yeah, I got a Grim. So I got stuff for the commander deck: Grim Tutor, Beseech the Mirror. Demonic Tutor was like $40 still, so I was like, no, I'm good. And I did buy a Meat Hook, so I have a Meat Hook now.
Ooh.
And then I bought a couple random cards. I brought some extra lands for the deck. And then I bought a mystery booster as well. So that was kind of cool. I didn't get shit in the mystery booster, but it's okay. So yeah, I spent my $90 accordingly, and got some free, pretty good upgrades for my commander deck. I just took out some because I have that Vampires Precon. I took out some lame artifacts.
Yeah.
So they always put filler artifacts in there. Like all these random equipments, and it's dude, vampires don't need fucking equipments. They need, you know what I mean? They need that synergy and that power level. I don't need to give it flying and haste, Yeah,
they absolutely do not really.
So,
they do that a lot. My Necrons had a ton of.
And I know that one was a little more centered around artifacts, so that's not as bad, I guess. Granted, they probably weren't the right power level, but still.
No, they were just random artifacts.
Yeah, they're kind of like filler. So I took out a bunch of those, and then put in my high powered tutors, and now I've been itching to play commander because I upgraded that deck so much. You know what I mean?
Well, we should definitely. That's something I was thinking about, is we should definitely do a Black Council commander game.
That would be cool. We could even maybe do it with patrons who are able.
Yeah. So 2 things I want to discuss. That would be a good idea. We should really do a command. If you want to see a Black Council commander roundabout, let us know in the comments or in the chat and talk to us.
Yeah, that could be fun.
That could be fun. So 2 things that I want to point out. One is that it's very obvious anybody could play this deck on Arena. It is available. All the cards are 100% available on Arena except one.
It's Tomb of Urborg. It's the only card that isn't available.
Tomb of Urborg.
It makes every land a swamp, even your opponent's lands. So whenever I play Tomb of Urborg in paper, I'm like, Tomb of Urborg, you're welcome. I
made your deck better.
Yeah, I just gave you like the better mana, whether you play black spells or not. You're welcome. But yeah, so it's just kind of funny. But
and also, what is the specific format this is in?
This is in paper. It's Pioneer.
It's Pioneer in paper. Okay.
Which is for those who don't know, it's an eternal format that uses everything from Ravnica forward, and I'm talking about like 2014 Ravnica,
original Ravnica.
Yep. So that's Ravnica to present. There are bans. It's not like just complete anarchy. There are bans.
It's not vintage.
Yeah. They regularly do BNR every quarter. So it's, it is relevant. In my opinion, it's I think it's the format that has the best combination of a good power level, but also like fairness and archetypes that have answers to enough things to still be competitive and do their thing at the same time. So that's what I like about it. It's not like Modern where how can I work my turn 3 win. There are turn 3 and turn 4 wins in Pioneer, but there are a lot of ways to shut it down, and it's just a little bit slower of a format to the point where you can force someone like this deck does. You can force them to play a good, honest game of Magic. And I think that's what I like about it. It feels like I'm forcing you to actually play Magic with me.
We're not turn 2 infinite looping here.
Yeah, not turn 2 infinite looping. We're not countering everything, because like eventually you going 1-for-1 with my discard spells, my 1 mana discard spells to your 2 and 3 mana counters, it eventually just doesn't work out for you anymore. So, and even so, like the funny thing about it is like, if you're going to counter my discard spell, I was probably just going to take the discard spell anyway. So it's like, yeah, sure. Thanks. So it's just, so in the Pioneer format, in my opinion, it's very balanced and it's very fair. And like you saw, like Niv to Light right now is supposed to be the most powerful deck, but I was able to beat it because of the format being, obviously I played decent at least, but the format is balanced enough to where that can still happen. And it's kind of not like standard, I'm going to play Azorius Control or Domain Control or Esper Midrange, and I just have the best deck.
Yeah,
it's not like that.
I can control everything that's ever going to get played here.
Yeah, it's not quite like that. There are too many other decks that are too good and have too many answers for like all of a field to just be on one deck, like you see in like standard Pro Tours right now. Everybody being on Esper Midrange, or Esper Midrange, Domain Control, and Azorius Control being like the top 3 archetypes. It's like there are more popular archetypes.
You see a mono red that someone is hoping against hope they're going to pop off.
Yeah, there's mono red. There's Boros Heroic.
Yeah.
There's actually Boros Convoke in Pioneer too. That was a thing before
Boros
it was
Convoke is standard. So powerful. Oh my god.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. I played against Boros Heroic, so I did beat that. I did win that matchup. Is it Phoenix? This deck actually, part of the reason it's so good is because Is It Phoenix was so good. This has so much graveyard hate, so much hand-picked discard, so much good removal, and so many like tailored discard spells and things that go against you drawing. And I have a creature that's just bigger than all your. I have multiple creatures that are just bigger than all your creatures. So it's a terrible matchup for Phoenix, and because so many people play Phoenix, it makes this deck that much better. So that works out really well too. I wanted to illustrate that. But yeah, just going over the last couple cards in sideboard. Feed the Swarm. That's for when someone plays Leyline of Sanctity. If I lose game 2, I'll bring this in for game 3 and hopefully remove it. And then Unlicensed Hearts is more graveyard hate. Extinction Event. exiling stuff. Usually exiling on odd is pretty lit. I have a good chance of getting both of these guys out. So if I can exile all the odd spells and just keep one of each of these, I'll usually just win after that. So yeah, so that's our deck, or sorry, that is this deck, I should say. I think what I played in paper was just this and this, and then add a Tomb of Urborg. And this is exactly what I played in paper.
Wow. Okay.
So those are the slight differences.
And we will of course put a link to the we'll put a copy of this in the description. We'll show people if anybody wants to export this and try their hand at this winning black deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll make it available.
Yeah, please give it a shot. I had some people reach out to me and say on Twitter that they were going to try it out on MTGO for the week and let me know how it was. So I was, pretty flattered on that. So people are starting to adopt this list,
And I think that patrons got access to it first. I think the patrons saw it immediately.
I think I did show them the list, and of course a lot of our patrons are, they watch our streams, so
of course
they saw me playing it on stream too. But yeah.
So okay, so the main thing, the next thing that I want to know, moving on from the amazing performance that you had, and just all praises to what is the joke? Well, first things first, all praises to Mono Black. So write that down
for sure.
What's the next step? How soon are you going to be world champion? Is my next question.
So we have the regional championship in DC, which it's such a big thing to have that this season, because every season it's a different regional championship. And I think each season is like 2 to 3 months out of the year. And the reason it's such a big deal, especially for players around here, is that's like the closest SCG con this year that has a regional championship to this area. We can drive there in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, there are guys who are flying to Dallas this weekend as we film this. Guys who are flying to Dallas and they're running into all kinds of flight delays and this and that. I don't have to worry about that. I can just drive down there the morning of if I really wanted to.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So
it's not in like San Diego where it's like holy
exactly.
shit.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, like I went to MagicCon Chicago, like that was a decent bit of travel. If I had to go to Dallas, that's even more. That's even further from where I live in PA. So it's really nice to be able to go to DC for this. And I have 2 other friends that qualified. So I'm literally just going to be sitting in the back seat of their car chilling.
Fantastic.
I'll give them like $10 for gas and that's it. And then I just get a hotel.
SCG-Com Regional Championships. That's going to be October 5th through 6th. Obviously, we're going to have live coverage on our channel.
Live coverage.
We're going to be we're going to have a drone that follows you 24/7.
I don't know if they do coverage of the RC or if they do like feature matches or how they do that. I'll have to see. Who knows if I'll be a featured match. They're probably going to be looking for like pro players who are there.
You're a streamer though. Wizards knows who you are.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. People will recognize me probably. Jaffer's going to be there, so that's cool too. He's qualified. Jaffer qualified this season. But yeah, so the top 64 of that will get an invite to the next Pro Tour event.
Wow.
So if I can do top 64, I can get on the Pro Tour. Top 2, I was telling Jay earlier, gets an invite to the Magic World Championship, which is pretty sick.
So the winner and the runner-up get world.
Basically, you make it to the finals. You're going to frickin' Magic World Championship, chance for like 400K. Pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness! I did not know it was that big.
Yeah, dude. Well, that's like the total prize pool. I think the winner gets like 250, maybe.
Yeah,
like 2 to 250 grand. But I mean, hey, if you win that, that's like 4 times what I make in a year. So that's pretty good. But yeah, so. Yeah, well, so we have all that, and that's kind of the goal. Is like obviously I want to win, but if I can at least like make it to day 2 and I do okay in day 2, then who knows? Maybe I can get top 64 and sneak into a freaking Pro Tour. We'll see.
That would be amazing because, frankly, I think putting Pro Tour player in our podcast resume, I think would probably gives us a little clout, I would have to say. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. If
just
you
in
were
general, being able to say that you're a professional Magic player, I feel like somebody dreams. Every Magic player, I think, at some point thinks about how that would be cool, whether they actually want to do it or not. Maybe it's a different story, but they think about, man, if I was a pro player, that would be so cool.
Yeah,
you at least think about it once.
Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely, and I think I
think about it a lot, but
it's amazing. It's really a spectacular thing.
Yeah,
and I'm serious. Yeah, it would be fantastic to have that that cachet is really incredible.
Of course,
and yeah, and also I think it would be, you know, I think it'd be great for all I'm saying, Numbskull, is it would be really great for the Patreon. If you won the world championship or were the #1 player in the world, I feel like that would help the podcast kind of get.
Yeah, I think it would. It would put us on the map pretty good.
I think it would help put a little bit of light on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, you know,
amongst other opportunities,
I'm being a little selfish here. So, but I'm just thinking,
no pressure.
So, or anything like that. So, yeah.
Thankfully, I don't get nervous, so that's good.
Yeah,
I don't get nervous for that type of thing. When it comes down to just how I do, I don't get nervous. Just I've been a musician since I was 15.
Well, so, you know, that helps is performing in front of, because it's a big stage. It's like a lot going on. You have to kinda, you know.
Yeah. This one, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a little anxious, but I don't think I'll get nervous. And you know, I mean, I've never done this before, so it is a little more of a thing. I've never really competed at this high of a level. You know what? You know, that's a lie. The other time I competed at this high of a level for something.
What's that?
The spelling bee in 7th grade. I'm a very good speller.
Okay. You're still a very good speller.
I see what you did. Okay. Yes.
Pretty good.
Now I'm in both ways. I am a good speller. But yes, so I've never really, you know, as an adult and you know, for something that I just enjoy doing, I've never really quite gotten to this level of something like that. So definitely noteworthy. And you know, hopefully, you know, this is me taking the next step, and it's kind of why I started this and started back up in Magic about 3 years ago. It is almost about 3 years now that I've gotten back into Magic. So it feels right that, you know, as I take it seriously this time and really try to actually be competitive as opposed to casual, which is how I was previously when I played back in, you know, actually when the original Pioneer cards were coming out. Back when I played that at that time, it was very casual, and I didn't really fully understand the rules. I didn't understand the stack. I didn't understand priority. This that, and now it's, you know, almost 3 years of going pretty hard. So it's I think I was, the way I phrase it, it's just nice to see it amount to something, you know.
Oh, and absolutely, man. And I'm sure all of us, I certainly am. You know, extremely proud of what you've done here. It's some really amazing stuff. I am not as the two of us, and part of the reason that we kind of started this is we both like Mono Black, we both like Magic, but I am not a Spike.
Yeah.
I am not a competitive player. I've never made a secret about that. I am a brewer. I get bored of playing decks very quickly. I play a deck 10-15 times, I'm like, okay, now new one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And so we approach the game from different angles. So
we're kind of the yin and yang in that regard.
The yin and yang of different aspects of Magic.
And innovative, you know, type of thing.
Exactly.
Not to say that I don't like brewing. I've been known to make a pretty good deck.
Oh, of course, no. Not to say that I don't, you know,
I don't go hard.
I
sometimes,
do.
Yeah.
I do go hard sometimes. I try to hit Mythic every season.
Yeah.
But that aspect is complementary.
Sure.
And I really like that.
We're definitely complementary.
Quite a turn with this Pro Tour, and again, it came out of nowhere. It was very funny.
I didn't think I was gonna do well, so I just didn't say anything, and then out of nowhere, I'm undefeated.
I look at my phone, and Numbskull's holding up a piece of paper. It's like, congratulations on winning regional. You're going to whatchamacallit. I was like, whoa, what the hell? He didn't even tell me he was doing this. So there you go. Amazing stuff. We're going to be watching as Emperor Palpatine. We'll watch your career with great interest.
For sure.
You know, if you guys aren't following him on Twitter yet, on Twitch and on Twitter too, I don't know what you're doing. It's always down in the description, and it's scrolling across the bottom. Currently, it's twitch.tv/num_skull_. So if you're not watching him there, and amazing stuff. Yeah, I could never do it. I played in one of those one time, and I think it was a draft, and I made an absolute turd of a deck, and I don't think I won one game, and that was pretty much the end of my going to card stores and playing competitively. I was like, I'm not enjoying this.
And there's something to be said about the difference in like playing competitively in paper versus digitally. You're responsible for all of your triggers. You have to remember your Sholdred triggers every turn. You have to. I missed a lot of triggers on Saturday. That was probably the weakest part of my gameplay was all of the triggers that I missed from like Waste Not, because I was so used to playing it digitally, because it was my third time playing it in paper, that I missed a bunch. I missed the chance to draw like 5 more cards the one game, because I kept missing all the triggers off of it, and it was bad. I still won. It didn't matter, but like it was like, damn, I was fucking up a little bit. So it's definitely it makes you pay attention to every phase of it more. I think it makes you a better player overall, but you got to pay attention to every step, and you really have to pay attention to priority. That's important too. And you have to obviously you have to worry about cheating. I don't think that, as far as I can tell, I don't think any of my opponents were cheating.
I can't believe that that's an issue in this day and age. I've seen it. Yeah. I've seen people talk about that a bunch, and that it's a problem.
I did have someone try to be slick with animating Hall of Storm Giant and trying to attack me. He just tapped the mana and put it up into the attack zone and turned it sideways, and he said, "Swing at you for 7." And I was like, okay, well, there were a few things that I was allowed to respond to before he got there.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, in response to your activation, Field of Ruin. He tried to sneak it by me,
you're gonna forget the Field of Ruin.
Because then if I let it be a creature, it has Ward 3, and then I don't have the mana to stop it.
Yeah.
And he tried to, you know what I mean? He tried to catch me in that position, and I was like,
Yeah.
So you have to, and it's a little thing, you know what I mean? It's a little thing. Yes, there's shortcutting, but in some situations you have to be careful, and you have to what's the word? If they're going too fast, you can stop them. You know what I mean?
Let's slow it down.
Yeah. So you have to think about the exact time when you're taking your action. So and you have to know how to phrase it so that it doesn't make it sound like you're fucking it up. So, because if I would have said, "Oh, okay, I'll just Field of Ruin," and he was like, "We don't have enough mana," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah," and I'd be like, "Well, I want to do it in response to the activation." He was like, "No, you already said you're going to do it."
You already
know what I mean?
Yeah, that phase is over.
That's where he was trying to catch me slipping, and I was like, "No."
Yeah, they'll try to hustle you down.
Yep. So just little things like that. Someone who's more experienced than you might try to put you in those positions. So you have to learn to be respectful, but be assertive as much as possible. He was playing Phoenix, so he wasn't happy to be playing against me. I hit him with a Field of Ruin in game 1, and I was like, okay, we each go get a basic, and he's like, I know what it does. I was like, okay. I was like, all right. So I was like, it's going to be that kind of game. So I was already prepared for antics.
Someone's got a case of the Mondays.
Yeah, dude. So just looking out for shit like that, you get used to it. And sometimes people just they'll have a tone about them while you're playing, but then after, shake your hand, wish you best of luck, smiling, but sometimes when it's in the game, it's almost like they're different people sometimes.
Yeah, they're locked in, I guess. They're
locked in. So it's it's almost don't take it personally.
Yeah.
But also I think who was it? Carlo, C. Favretto Jr. He's an L1 judge. He said,
"Oh, I didn't know that."
Yeah, he's a judge. So, and he kind of gives good advice on like interacting with opponents. And he says you should never assume that your opponent has your best interest in mind.
Yeah,
basically. So, always kind of tiptoe around and be wary of them, and don't let them catch you slipping, because if they can get that little incremental advantage, they'll take it. Where Magic the Gathering players, it's by default, it is kind of a chess match. And the chess match always has multiple elements to it. So, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Never, and also, what did Napoleon say? Never interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake.
Yeah, that's a thing. Let them make their mistakes. Unless it's like illegal, you know what I mean? Like I had a dude who tried to tap Cavern of Souls for white mana to cast Angel Fire Ignition, and I was like, you can't do that.
I've tried to do that. I've been like, I'm going to cast this, and Arena is the one who tells me.
Arena doesn't let. Yeah, I'm like, just because your mana base isn't good doesn't mean I'm not going to catch it. So so that's definitely something worth noting, is that you wanna kind of be careful. You want to watch how they're tapping their mana. You want to watch how and some of it's going to come down to knowing how their deck works. So you need to be mindful. There's a lot that goes into it in paper. There's a lot that people are going to do to try to shortcut and shortchange you. You got
to get really that and try to get that win.
Try to get that little bit of advantage over you. Get that little bit of cheat that may not be like reprehensible, but if it gives them a little advantage, but maybe you don't catch it, maybe the judge can't do anything about it because it's just a little thing, and it's kind of like your word versus theirs,
But that little extra juice that they're trying to squeeze
just out. That little extra bit. The people, if it's a penny, they'll pick up pennies off the ground.
Yeah.
If it means that they'll have more than you,
Exactly.
So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's my best advice. And also, a big thing for me is if you have a bad day with a deck, don't take it personally. It's something I've kind of gotten better with. Is it's part of it, and you don't have to like throw it all the way or get down on yourself about it.
Well, like I always say, sometimes it's your turn in the barrel.
Yeah,
you guys know my expression, and I've told that joke a bunch of times. It happens on Arena too. Sometimes, man, it's just variance. It's going to be your turn in the barrel.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be waiting for updates.
Yes.
About what you do.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing testing, but I think we're not really gonna ramp up testing between my friends and I until Bloomburrow comes out. Just see if any of the cards change things and make another deck good or makes my deck bad, whatever the situation may be. So we're gonna wait for that before we like really ramp it up. And I'll just kind of be like, the best part about it now is like, the Pioneer season goes all the way to like August or like the end of July, early August, and people are going to be trying to qualify that whole time, and I'm just going to be hanging out. I qualified on like the third week of the season.
Yeah.
So I mean,
a long time.
Yeah. If I wanted to like, and I'm not going to like do it in a way that it might sound like, but if I wanted to like take a step of Magic, take a step back from Magic for a couple months, I could. I think maybe I could be like, I could worry. Maybe I won't worry so much about being competitive for a little bit. I'll just worry about enjoying it, having fun. Maybe I play more Commander the next couple months, just to not take it too seriously and not get burnt out in any way. But yeah, I kind of get to chill for a little bit, which is great, So yeah, very happy about that. And maybe I get to learn a new format with some new cards that are coming to it.
Oh, nice segue.
Yeah, you like that? With cards that we are actually going to talk about.
Yeah, that was the other aspect of this episode.
Sorry, I didn't mean to eat up too much of the episode with my gloating.
Geez.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on. It's our podcast. We decide what's on here. And
you're right.
So Modern Horizons 3 is coming out.
Yeah.
It's modern, it's horizontal, and it's the third one. That's about everything that I know about Modern Horizons 3.
Okay.
Now I have been looking at it because it is coming to Arena. It is the Arena like a summer bonus set that is coming, which is weird that they chose this because I was kind of hoping they would put Assassin's Creed, which they're not doing. We are getting, by the way, I think we are getting Final Fantasy next summer as the Arena.
Okay.
The Alchemy only Arena set.
I thought I remembered hearing that we were going to get the Assassin's Creed on Arena.
There was a rumor that we were.
Yeah.
I think they may be adding some cards, but I don't think we're getting the whole set.
Like a very light Alchemy.
Expansion. Yeah. And I think the Assassin's Creed is more like the Fallout, where they just made some pre-cons.
Okay.
With some extra shit in it. I don't think it's.
I'd be down for some Fallout cards too, because they did the Fallout lands.
Yeah. So, but Modern Horizons is a big old full ass release. Now, you may or may not know, but we are not modern players. I'm probably the farthest thing from a modern player because I play an Alchemy, which only has like 8 available sets. So as soon as we hit rotation, I'm going to be digging that. I like to play with as few sets as possible because it's limiting. It really tests your skill as opposed to, I can grab this card that came out in 2002, and when I combine it with this card that came out last year, it actually makes an infinite loop. So modern is not really our thing. However, modern is not really available on Arena anyways, and there's going to be the addition of a couple of cards that what I am planning on doing. I don't think I'm going to play very much Timeless. I may try a Timeless deck. I may try a Historic. I may partake. Generally, I play 1 or 2 games, and then somebody turn 2 claps me to death, and I'm like, all right, this is boring.
Yeah.
What I will be trying is I'm going to play a couple of Brawl decks because there's a couple of cool new cards in here that I wanted to look at that I'm kind of interested in looking to Brawl because it's a long summer. We got to do some other kind of content.
Yeah.
I don't know. How are you feeling about the Modern Horizons? What's going on there?
I think there's some cool cards. My buddy who plays Modern and who won an RCQ last year by playing mono black coffers in Modern told me that he thinks that mono black's gonna get even better in Modern.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. There is there's some cool things. Like I'm seeing like Phyrexian Tower. That sounds great. There's that Necro Dominance card, which is like the fixed Necro Potence, as they're saying.
Yeah. Now, I heard that one. I was watching some coverage on that because I heard that one sucks.
You heard it sucks?
I heard it sucks. I heard that it doesn't work as good as it... Well, comparative to Necro Potence.
Comparatively, yes. But I think there's like a way that... I think there's a way to make it a little better, I guess. I'll put it that way. But yeah, it's definitely not as good. It's definitely not as good. But yeah, so there's cool stuff. There's some cool lands coming. Obviously, the Eldrazi's are going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'm not a big Eldrazi player either, so I was like, this
understandable.
Yeah.
And what I liked was the Consuming Corruption.
I didn't see that one.
Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life, where X is the number of swamps you control. And it's an instant uncommon for 2 black. And so the reason I thought it would be good is because a lot of the decks like coffers, they'll play Urborg also.
Yeah.
So it'll make all your lands are swamps. So it's like however many lands you have, that's how much damage it deals. So kill damn near anything and gain a shitload of life.
I'll tell you what was interesting me for the most part, and it also could be an interesting to play in the Whatnot or in the Waste Not. There's a decent amount, like a shocking amount of zombie and demon support. But I was pretty happy at the
definitely.
level of demon. We haven't gotten demons in a while, and I miss demons. I love playing demon decks.
Sure, yeah.
There's some decent ones, and there's also a decent amount of zombie support right there. You've got some really cool cards like Mindless Corruption, Mindless Conscription, not Mindless Corruption. I'm thinking that one. Whenever you draw your third card, you amass zombies 3. And I'm thinking that's going to fit real nicely with Prof. That's going to fit real nicely with a lot of these, like in a Dimir card draw. That's not bad, especially with all the blue. If you're talking about all the blue amass cards that we had from Invasion of, what the hell is that called?
Zendikar.
Invasion of Zendikar, and I actually have, believe it or not, I have a Grixis Invasion deck. That's almost entirely Hour of Devastation, Amonkhet, and Invasion of Zendikar. So I have that Grixis deck lying around somewhere, and I'm like, maybe upgrade it, maybe making a new commander with some
cool
armies. That's not a bad one. Emperor of Bones is pretty cool.
Okay.
I don't know.
I saw Shilgengar.
I did not. Oh yeah, Shilgengar. Yeah, Shilgengar.
Sire Famine. That seems cool. That seems pretty sick. Sack a little blood token synergy. It'd be cool to see like blood token synergy be a thing in Modern. That would be interesting. You know.
Well, in Historic or rather in Timeless, I've run Vampire Angels with Veto.
Okay.
Especially because Vampire Angels tend to gain life.
Sure.
And so I've done Blood Angels quite a bit back in the day, like when there was a lot of angels coming out in Kaldheim. I've done a couple of that, so I was like, you might slide in there real nicely.
You could cheat him out with especially like in Timeless also, because you can play Dark Ritual.
Yeah, you can get them out pretty quickly.
That seems cool.
And if we're talking blood tokens, we can trigger on tokens. We can trigger on a lot of things. So
I think he might be interesting, and then reanimate a lot of stuff. What was another one I saw? There's a Phyrexian Tower reprint.
Phyrexian Tower, yeah, that's pretty good.
Obviously, Energy is getting a revamp.
Yeah, I hated Energy. That was I honestly Aether whatever. What I've said before, Noxious Gearhult was the only card printed in the entire of the 2 sets. I will not elaborate further. That's
fair enough.
I did not like. I was never an Energy player, and when it came out, I remember coming down and someone's like, "I got a red Energy deck." I'm like, "Oh God."
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Oh God. He's got so many energy tokens. What is going on? What is he doing? I don't understand it. I'm too old, my brain. But I'm sure people that enjoy playing it are going to enjoy playing it.
Yeah. And we got a reprint of Kirik, which is interesting. And so I think they were saying that like the Yawgmoth decks are going to get a little better too.
Yeah.
The Golgari Yawgmoth is a relevant deck in Modern. So that's something to consider.
Mystic Forge. Ugh. Not looking forward to that.
Yeah. Oh, and these are the ones we were talking about. We were excited for the new Sorin.
Oh yeah, and that's a new Sorin, right? That is not a reprint. That is
right. As far as I know, yes.
And it's when he's a little kid.
Yeah, it's like young Sorin, not considered a vampire, which is pretty crazy. So that seems cool. There is what else? And then there are a few planeswalkers that are like that. From what I understand, there's a Sorin. I'm still scrolling here. There's a Sorin. I thought there was a Teferi too, which I wasn't really happy about that, but maybe not, or maybe it's not. I'm not sure. No, maybe it is just Sorin, which is kind of crazy, but I'm down for it.
Yeah, well, he reminds me of the was it the Journey into the Nyx, the pre-Planeswalkers? You had Liliana, who was like a white card, and then she becomes a black card. They start as a creature. Jace Reawakened, or whatever his name is, or Jace Ignited.
I think maybe No, it's not any of those. Yeah, there might not be another. I feel like I don't see any other planeswalkers that have that here, which is interesting. But yeah, like we were saying, the Eldrazi's are pretty crazy. Oh, and then another one, Kappa Cannoneer.
I didn't see that one.
So he's you can.
Oh, Blastoise. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everyone's just been calling him Blastoise.
And basically, like, you can tap artifacts to put him on the board, pretty much.
Oh, he's gonna make Azorius artifacts ridiculous.
And Ward 4 is insane. First of all,
yes.
So that's So I guess he's an early favorite here. He's a reprint, but he's an early favorite. And I guess his price in his original printed form is skyrocketing right now after he was reannounced. Another one, Ugin's Labyrinth. That apparently is going to be one of the most expensive lands that's been a newer print in a long time, from what I understand.
That's a reprint from Invasion Block, isn't it?
I'm not sure, but probably. But yeah, Ugin's Labyrinth, pretty crazy. And then we also, another noteworthy thing here, we have colorless counterspells.
Oh my goodness.
Null Elemental Blast, 1 mana, choose one. Counter target multicolored spell. So it has to be a multicolored spell, or destroy target multicolored permanent. Probably a sideboard card against maybe 5-color decks or things like that. But yeah, that's an interesting one for 1 mana. Pretty good. For 1 colorless mana, pretty good. And then, like we were saying, all the Eldrazi's. Winter Moon's a cool sideboard card too. Players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land during their untap step. That's crazy.
Goodness.
That's crazy. So that's going to be a good sideboard card for decks that are trying to be cheeky with lands. I think the Primeval Titan decks that might do something. So, and not Primeval. I'm sorry. Amulet, whatever that is. Amulet Titan, I think, is what it's called. That deck might be, because I think that has a way to get a bunch of lands on the board. So that might be interesting if they're not running a lot of basics. So we'll have to see.
And don't forget check lands.
Yeah.
I think is that what's coming back, right? Check lands are coming back. Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff, and I think what they were saying about it is are fetch lands. Oh,
fetch lands. I'm sorry, not check lands, fetch lands.
Oh, and I did find another one. There's an Ajani.
Yeah. Just a creature is on. He's a planeswalker, or is he transformed into one again?
Yeah, he turns into a Boros planeswalker. Kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. It has cat synergy, so I'm not sure exactly how playable. Feels like the other Sorin is a little more playable, but
believe it or not, there's some pretty good Selesnya cats you can build.
I believe it. Yeah. I just don't know, competitive.
Mardu cats is not bad either, because you
can. Okay.
Don't forget there's Snapdax, which is always a fucking problem.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with this, and like we were saying, Jay and I don't exactly know everything. There's going to be some cool stuff to add to Commander for sure.
We're not super plugged into the modern scene.
Yeah. But we know that there's some high power level here. We know that. We're not trying to downplay that in any way.
No, there's going to be some cool stuff going on.
But yeah. So, and there's also Rawl. I think Rawl is. Oh, sorry. Here we go. It's Rawl, Tamio, and Grist. Those are the other ones. So there is actually one for every color. I'm sorry.
Okay, Tamio's Awakening. Yeah, her Sparking Lighting.
Yeah, and Grist is kind of interesting for sure. As a 1 mana spell, Grist and Tamio are 1 mana, so it's almost impossible for them to be bad because that was your one drop, you know. Tamio coming out as a 0/3 flyer, like good blocker right off the bat, you know.
I love the idea that Grist was a caterpillar who had an awakening. He's like, I'm a caterpillar, but I'm gonna become a mega planeswalker.
Yeah, I like the possible Golgari synergy that we get in here. Not to mention, a 1 mana with as a -2 destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's still on the board, and you only paid 1 mana for it. That's pretty good. Even if you flip Grist and just -2, it's literally value right there. Like just
as long as it doesn't immediately get popped.
Yeah, it's like, now wait, so on your control, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, you pay. Oh, so technically you pay 2 to have him as a creature for 1 mana, and then another mana to make him a planeswalker. So it's like a 2 mana naturalize, I guess, in a way that started off as a creature, but then still stays on the board. So it's obviously still better. And you get
but I mean, the self mill reanimator options for Golgari self-mill reanimator.
Yeah, it's infinite.
I was literally going to say infinite. You could put Insidious Roots with it, and you could make all kind of nightmarish combinations.
Yeah, I think him for like a little dredge, it can make a dredge deck better for sure. So yeah, I think all these cheap creatures that turn into planeswalkers, I feel like they all could be good and playable. I'm naturally, I think Jay and I are most excited for the Sorin one.
I'm definitely going to do a vampire with him. I'm going to do a brawl easy. I'm going to do a brawl vampire with him. Now my question is, does he count as, because his backside is his flip side is Orzhov? Does he count as mono black if he's my commander, even though his flip is Orzhov?
That's a valid question, and I am not the person to ask that question. But we could maybe find an answer on that for you guys.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
I'm making him your commander. That would be interesting. Also, bringing back Extort. Hell yeah, brother.
Oh, yeah. Extort's classic mono black.
Let's go.
Black tech right there.
Yep. So that's cool, especially if you're playing like coffers already. Like you already have infinite, or not infinite mana, but you already have a shitload of mana. So coffers is good.
I like Exterminator Matriarch just because it looks awesome. Magmark. Have you seen that?
Hold on, let me just search it.
Exterminator it's a Rakdos, which is unusual color for Phyrexian. It's a Phyrexian construct. It's a 5/3. First of all, it has Regenerate, which I haven't played since about 1998, so that'll be fun.
Exterminator? Oh, Magmarch?
Yeah.
Magmarch? Okay. Oh, this is in German. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, no, I found it. First, we spell the target's only a single non-land permanent. Opponent controls, if another opponent controls one or more non-land permanents, that spell can target. Choose one of those permanents. Copy that spell. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So it's a removal machine basically.
Yeah, removal machine and like instant target on your back commander card.
Yeah.
Blowing up all your shit.
And again, we have Regenerate, which I literally, the last card I remember seeing with Regenerate was like maybe Around the Relentless. It's probably
a little while ago, huh?
if you know who Around the Relentless is, you deserve a veterans discount. I think that came out. That came out in Homelands. Do you even know what Homelands is?
No.
It came out in like 1995.
Jesus, yeah, dude, I was like just learning how to take shits by myself.
Yeah, I remember that. Around the Relentless was tough, and that's the main card that I remember with Regenerate. Regenerate, basically, if it dies, you can pay that cost, and it doesn't die.
Okay.
So it's basically very difficult to kill.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah. So there's some cool stuff, and again, we'll have to go into it and see if we want to play here or there, because like I said, it's going to be a long summer. We might as well get some licks in here or there, and have some fun with it. So,
yeah.
What are your favorite Modern Horizons? Let's hear from you. What do you want? What are you interested in seeing? Are you a big Modern player? Timeless, historic? What are you looking forward to hitting off on this combos ready?
I'm probably going to be looking for what do you call it? I'm going to be looking for what's the best way to describe it? I'm going to be looking for probably timeless. I don't play much modern, so that's, you know, something to consider for sure. I don't do a lot of that. But I think I want to maybe, like, you know, in these next few months, I want to like maybe try to get into modern a little bit. So that's something I could definitely see myself working on. So maybe this is my time to kind of, you know, it's like, who knows?
Figure it out, get into it.
Yeah, who knows? So maybe I can do that and kind of get a little more into it, and, you know, just because something you got to worry about if you're ever going to be on the Pro Tour is you will have to what do you call it? You should know how to play modern, because there's a very good chance that the format, if you end up on the Pro Tour, very good chance that the format
it's going to change. Yeah,
is maybe modern or whatever. You need to work on your drafting. You need to work on all your form. I mean, you're going to know what the formats are beforehand, but you still need to really, you know, you need to be well versed in like every format. So basically, other than like legacy and vintage, I don't think they're going to do any like super competitive professional level events by that time, but I need to be familiar for sure. So I may be learning modern this summer. That might be a thing.
Okay, well, you got the time, you know.
Yeah, I got a little time. Apparently Mono Black's going to be good, so, you know, screw it. Let's give it a shot. You know?
Absolutely. And also, listen, it's a slow summer, but it's a hot winter. I mean, a hot fall, because come end of August, start September, rotation, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Moonborough and rotation.
Yeah,
it's gonna be wild.
So standard's gonna get pretty freaking interesting, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were talking about doing another standard qualifier season after the modern season, so we might even be going pretty hard at standard again after rotation, because I'll have to see how I do with qualifying and everything and how that goes. But if it doesn't go amazing, I'm gonna, you know, back to square one, and I gotta win a standard RCQ now. So we'll see what's up. So, you know, it'll be interesting. We'll see how things play out, and I'm gonna be a pretty well-rounded Magic player, I think, by the end of things, if I know what's going on.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
But yeah, guys, let us know what you think. Any Modern Horizon cards that you may be excited for. We would love to know. Like Jay and I said, we're not the most well versed in that, you know, in that format. So if there's anything we missed, maybe other stuff like that you think we should touch on, or just, you know, that you think is going to be relevant, by all means let us know, because we would love to, you know, we would love to see any cards that you think are going to be good, because Jay and I are going to be trying out a lot of stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can call it to a close right there.
Sounds good to me, my friend.
We had a pretty good update. I think we're going to be coming back either with let's see, what are we going to be doing? I think we're going to be doing a deck. You know what I was just thinking about? Speaking of Sorin, we could probably do a history of Sorin. We could do a
little, yeah, that would be cool. He's is probably my favorite planeswalker, so
so he's a fun guy.
That would be really cool, actually, to do that. Yeah, I'm super down.
So yeah, we'll consider that, and then we can talk about why is he a little kid and he's not a vampire. What does that mean?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So all right. So until next time, guys, I think we're going to call this episode of the Council to a close.
Awesome.
I've been Jay Villainy. You've been great. thank you so much. With me, as always, is regional champion Numbskull.
Regional champion qualifier.
Well,
I didn't win it yet.
Okay,
I'm getting there. I'm working
you
on
win
it.
your stories? You won your region, right?
I won my region's qualifier.
You run regional champion qualifier. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And until next time, guys, we're going to see you then.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Peace.